Hey folks, thanks for making a decision to spend some time with us here at Sekion. My name is Christopher Cook, Director of Sales Engineering, and we're just going to spend some time here and go over what some of the finer points here of the Sekion Open Threat Management Platform and its capabilities. So just a definition of the problem space, we're all very much aware of some of the major data breaches that have happened over the course of time, Experian, T-Mobile, Scottrade, Target, all top shelf companies that had top shelf budgets, that had, again, top shelf security platforms in place, whether they be second generation or next generation firewalls, SIM log management, intrusion protection, vulnerability management, all of these tools and silos basically in place. Yet these very public entities were hacked, and the exploits were very public as well, unfortunately. So why are these attacks and these hacks being still okay? That sucks. Sorry. Why are these breaches still occurring if they've got the best of what the industry has to offer in the security space? And the answer is multifaceted. The problem really is that the assets within the organization are scattered. They're not very well defined. They're not very well organized. And the tools have the same situation, same problem. So you've got your SIM log management, endpoint protection, edge devices, IPS, IDSs. They're all looking at very separate areas within the organization, very siloed. So if one has something that seems like an interest or an issue, it can't communicate to the other portion or the other security product. So the security products and the problem itself is very siloed and very difficult for the customer to manage over time, and very difficult to get any visibility across these endpoints. Sekion brings a very interesting and very different approach to the forefront here. First of all, we approach the problem set with a very interesting capability of nonsense, is what I'm talking about. So this has got to stop right here. Well, hey folks, Christopher Cook here from Sekion, Director of Sales Engineering, and we're going to take a look at the Sekion Open Threat Management Platform, and take a look at some of the values and some of the assets and the capabilities that the application brings to the forefront. We're going to make an assumption that we've already been through the problem space and the other areas of the industry of what the problems are and what the other solutions that are out there. I'm going to assume that you've seen that in prior videos here. So we're going to jump right into the application. So one of the things that we take care of is we ingest a lot of very different data. We can ingest data directly from SIMs, endpoints, perimeter devices, your DNS, your Active Directory, obviously the authentication side of the house, whether it's Microsoft or LDAP or otherwise. Application data we can pull in, NetFlow data we can pull in, and I say NetFlow, it could be SFlow, JFlow, IPFix, and other various formats, network devices. But really, primarily, the key components that we want to look at are the authentication side of the house, your Active Directory or LDAP, perimeter syslog devices, and most importantly, your flow information. So once we pull that data in, we pull it directly into our data collection area layer, which is where the data aggregation and the parsing and the interrogation happens. And then that's where the analytics are applied. So we do machine learning, understand what's normal, what the normal baselines are, understand what the deviations from those baselines may be, and who and what the players are. So because we do have both the authentication side of the house, the syslog data from within the environment, as well as the flow data. Not only do we see the major components with regard to database servers and all the major high value assets, but we also see the activity from the end user area of the house as well. And as that data is coming in, we also glean that through a very very rigorous threat detection, dynamic threat feed model. So we'll pull in over 50 different threat feeds into the application. We do deduplicate that data, so we'll get immediate notifications of malicious URLs, malicious domains, malicious IPs that may appear within the data that's being pulled into the application. Then that gets bubbled up through a holistic method of a presentation layer, identifying the threat indicators. Over time, we're going to find out, okay, well, this is interesting and this is interesting, and doesn't necessarily mean that it bubbles up to an alert, but over time, as those things accumulate, whether it be relative to the entity, entity meaning an IP address, an end user, or whatever the case may be, then we can actually bubble those up into the meaningful alerts that are brought to your operational folks and your people that need to make whatever decisions there are on those alerts. So a very different approach than your typical SIM log management or IPS IDS or whatever else that's out there right now, but just a different, more holistic and automated approach to what's going on. So next we're going to take a look at a particular use case, and this is a very well-known use case. This is a case of compromised credentials. We're going to populate here the graphic with a couple of components, and here we have the first entry, and this is our first user. We're calling it user A. He's going to access the environment here, the network, Bob's PC. So Bob's going to log in. And he hits the database, and he's going to put in his username and password. He's going to hit the Active Directory or the LDAP, and he's going to get verified as a valid login. And that's fine. That's normal behavior. And your SIM log management is going to say, yep, okay, that's not an issue, no threat there. And Sekion is going to see the same thing. Okay, no threat there. That's Bob. He's logging in from his normal location. But then we have another piece of activity here, and that's the fact that another user is logging in, and another user is logging in as user A, seemingly Bob, but he's logging in from Joe's PC, different endpoint. So this other individual, which is atypical in the environment, logs in, and it's a valid username and password. So the threat management system is going to say, yep, okay, that's just another authenticated user password, no problem. But Sekion is going to see that a little differently, and we're going to say, okay, well, it's not Bob, or we don't think it's Bob because Bob usually logs in from over here. He's logging in from a different location. So we're gonna chalk that up to a threat indicator. It's not necessarily an alert. It's not going to set off any alarms, but it's going to be a threat indicator, and we're going to watch that. So then that next that user not only logs in from a different location, but then he goes and hits a different asset that Bob has never hit before. So this user, who's using potentially Bob's username and password, his credentials, is accessing a different asset here, and this is defined as a high value asset. And the issue is that, okay, so now we have the threat indicator from before, that it's user A or Bob's credentials coming in from a different location. That was one threat indicator, and now that threat indicator is added to the fact that there's a touch point from a high value asset. Okay, so the machine learning kicks in, and that actually generates the alert. So this is far above and beyond what normal SIM log management tools can do for you, because we're taking in the behavioral analytics of what's going on in the environment, as well as the machine learning capabilities of what's going on in the environment. So let's take a look at what how that manifests itself within the application. I've logged into the application here. Here's one of the main dashboards. This is the executive dashboard. Let me just scroll down a little bit here. And we have a bunch of numbers here, and we're going to make sense of these numbers. So the first number in the top left corner here, we've got a 77,200,000 flows collected over time. This is over 15 days. But we see the numbers below that, and this is interesting because we've got an alerts from Sekion. We've generated 95 alerts over the past 15 days, but more interestingly here, we've got threat indicators of 80,000. And the 80,000 threat indicators would be synonymous to the alerts generated by your SIM log management platform. And it's well known that SIM log management platforms, once you turn them up and you get them fully running, that they generate a ton of noise. And this is exactly what we see here. These threat indicators, upwards of 80,000. Yet in the Sekion implementation, of those 80,000 threat indicators, only 95 have actually percolated up into actionable alerts that need attention. So far less noise. This is your signal to noise ratio that folks make mention of, and a huge asset, part of what the Sekion product can deliver for you.